Hey guys, welcome to the Cash Flow Talk Deal Maker. Today I'm pleased to have a good friend of mine, Melissa. She's not just a friend, she's also the property manager and the person who I learned everything about renting properties, and the person who managed my properties for a long time, and also helps me today keeping these rental properties rented all the time with all the paperwork. She's a Section 8 expert. Melissa, I know you're super busy. You have a newborn kid. Thank you so much for spending the valuable time with me.
It's my pleasure, Camilla.
How are you? Everything good?
Everything's great. How about you?
Awesome. Beautiful. So today I wanna get the guys to learn 3 tips about how they can rent the property faster. If they have a rental property, how can they rent it faster? That's the goal for today. But before we go there, can you tell me in a minute, who you are, what do you do today, and just tell me a little bit about you.
Born and raised New York, Melissa. Married, 3 kids, live in Fort Lauderdale. We started out in the management business, learned from our investors, and took every learning process to the next level. And now we do our own flipping, and we do our own consulting, and I get to do designing as well. So
Love it. What
we're doing these days.
Awesome. I mean, you're an expert, and that's why you were working with me. And I learned so much about you, about renting properties, property management, and that's the goal. What I want to talk about today, and including Section 8. Tell me a little bit about the difference between, for an investor, if somebody wants to buy a property to rent. What's the difference between renting it through Section 8 or renting it through a regular tenant? What's the difference?
The difference is the government. Obviously, Section 8 is considered guaranteed income. So the process is a little bit different. You come in usually with a deposit. Some people don't take deposits in the beginning. We weren't doing deposits. We learned over the course of time that it was best to have deposits with Section 8 tenants. Gives them a little bit of accountability not to ruin your property for you. And then you have to go through a housing process, a packet process, approval. Your property has to be inspected and meet HUD requirements. And in regards to a straight pay tenant, it's a similar process, but it's more of a background check, credit check, first, last, and security, and then at will to continue the process through landlord and tenant, other than having a third party involved like you do with Section 8.
Love it. Now, I have some rental properties through Section 8, some rental properties through regular tenants, and it's a very different business. But I say that Section 8 is more of a lower income type of tenant. Tell me why. Why is it so focused on lower income families? And
Well, Section 8 is a program for low-income families. It's basically a subsidiary from the government for people to be able to afford housing. So you're basically afforded a voucher, and with that voucher, you can go anywhere as long as it's in your county or in your housing authority permits. And it's up to the landlord if they want to take it or not. And basically, it's based on heartbeats per room for your family, and it's on market rent. So you can get over market rent sometimes. You can get market rent. You're not limiting yourself as a landlord with Section 8. You're actually benefiting because the government is subsidizing. And with the lower income families, it's usually an 80-20, 90-10% split on the rent, depending on what the income is. If they have 0 income, the government's paying 100% of that rent to you, directly deposited into your bank account. Which makes it super easy for the landlord not have to chase a tenant. And if they do, it's for a very low amount of money, usually on a monthly basis.
yeah, love it. What happens if they don't pay that amount?
If they don't pay you like any other tenant, you can evict them. And if they do get evicted, they lose their voucher. And from experience, tenants don't want to lose that voucher because you cannot get it back. It's a lottery system. The voucher, Section 8 has closed giving out vouchers on a regular basis. It opens up very little amount of time, and very few people get in there. You got to be grandfathered in for your family to be part of it, and You have to make under a certain amount of money. Once you go past that, you're actually price yourself out of the program, and you have a year to get back in if you lose that income.
Wow. So that, why do you say that is guaranteed income? I mean, I've explained in some of my YouTube videos before, but share with me, share with these, with the audience that is listening, what do you mean by guaranteed income?
Guaranteed income meaning it's a direct deposit from the government. The government's never going to be late on your rent. They're never going to let you chase them around. They're not going to have to send you a check. You're basically going to, in the process, get your direct deposit information, your bank account information, a voided check. And on the first of the month, it's usually the first to the fifth or the first to the third, they're going to make that deposit every month. As long as the tenant is, still in the program and meeting their own requirements, and you as a landlord are meeting your requirements. Like I said, HUD standards, they do annual inspections. If they go in and find something's not right, they're going to give you 30 days time to fix it. If you don't get it fixed in the 30 days, they probate the rent for the time that you missed.
Yeah, I've shared some of my YouTube videos, series of videos about Section 8 and how does it work and what is the benefit of it. But some of the main examples of Section 8, if you have a property, what is it that you need to do so that is Section 8 ready, so that is Section 8 approved? What is it what are the requirements?
The requirements are HUD required items. So no peeling paint, all your electrical outlets need to work. You have to have appliances that are working. You have to have running water, hot water. Electricity needs to be on. No broken windows. Screen. Some housing authorities require screens. Some don't. So basic living expectations, but they just outline it for you because it's kind of like a checklist.
Yeah, but basic necessities. Basically, in other words, needs to be safe for kids to be living in there. Needs to
absolutely
work.
Absolutely. If there's a pool on the property, which we don't recommend investors doing rentals with pools, especially to Section 8 tenants, simply for the fact that if you're not paying for the pool service, you can't guarantee it's going to be kept up. But stuff like that, you need a pool fence. If you are on a waterfront property, you need to have fencing to keep kids from getting in the water, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's all about safety pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, every handle needs to be able to work in the house. Every bathroom needs to be able to lock. Oops, sorry.
No problem.
Sorry.
No problem. No problem.
Every room should have a window and a closet if it's a bedroom, that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Now, I love Section 8 for that same reason, because they pay rent basically and they're on time, and all I need to chase the tenant is for a couple $100 sometimes. But some other investors, because I deal with a lot of investors, they say they don't want Section 8 tenants because these tenants probably may not take care of the property as well as any other regular tenant. What's your experience on that?
That's a reality of rental. You're going to have that with a straight pay and a Section 8 tenant. You might get it more with Section 8 if you're not requiring deposits. And doing random inspections as a landlord. You can hold your tenant accountable through the process of the lease agreement. So if you go in and do a random inspection and you see damages that you see are going to be an issue down the line, when the lease comes to terminate, you can hold them accountable with a notice to cure. And if not, you impose a claim on a deposit, or you can evict them. And then you minimize your losses. If some properties become problematic, obviously you want to manage that, but being involved will keep you from having to pay high bills to turn over properties on an annual basis, and also keeps the tenant happy where they're renewing on a regular basis and you're not having a high turnover. Yeah,
absolutely. I've heard from many real estate and entrepreneur gurus that by having rental properties, like, you get a hot property manager and you forget about it because it's all passive income. I don't believe in that. I believe, it's passive income in some sort, but if you let it go and if you don't pay attention to the properties, if you don't pay attention to the process that what's going on, everything starts falling down and the repairs start affecting you and the inspections start affecting you and more vacancies. So yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Tell me, so I'm an investor. I'm looking to buy a rental property. And I purchase a rental property, I renovate it. What are the key 3 things that I should do to rent the property faster? What do you think what are some tips that we can give the investor, the landlord, so they can get a property rented faster and maybe probably even get more money for it?
I'd say make sure it's updated. You don't have to spend $1 million to have a beautiful property. You can do things on a low end budget and still make it look beautiful. But you want something that's clean. Essential air is a must always, even with Section 8 tenants. It seems to be something on their wish list always. Bathrooms and kitchens are major. You definitely want good sized bedrooms. And just something very clean, something that people can see themselves in, something that's going to be an easy rent. You don't want to walk in and it's a Mickey Mouse job and things are done, half-assed, so to speak, excuse my language. But that deters, tenants from renting. They see that a landlord didn't put the effort in on the renovation and making the place nice. What are they going to do through the course of their tenancy? That's what they're foreseeing. My landlord can't take care of this before I move in. How is it going to be when I live there?
Yeah.
So they want to feel secure too, walking in the door.
Okay.
I think that would be the major advice that I could give in regards to renting fast, is just making sure that your property looks nice, it shows nice. Not everything needs to be brand new, but it should be clean and ready for move-in.
Awesome. And one more question: if I'm buying a rental property, if I have 2 or 3 or 4 rental properties, I have some money to buy multiple rental properties. At what point do I consider getting a property management company to manage the properties for you? What's your opinion?
I'd say at the point where it's unmanageable for you. If your focus is building a portfolio and your focus isn't on making your daily job a landlord, and you can give up the 10 or 8 or 12% that it requires to pay a manager to do that job, then do that job. I think everybody in the process has a purpose. And I think we learned this as investors, as landlords, as managers, and as consultants. We all have our role in it, and we can't do everything. We should be able to sub that stuff out so that the time that we spend, we are able to make more money and grow our businesses. If our business is growing our portfolio, if you want to be a landlord full time, then you should manage your properties full time, and that's what you should do day to day. But if you do want to be an investor, you want to have passive income, then you want to pay other people to do that job. You just want to make sure that you're managing them. This way, nothing falls apart.
Love it. And what's the average rate of how much kind of property manager cost?
Usually 10%. 10% is average. It's fair. It includes and should include rent collection, managing of repairs, making sure that the lease agreements are done properly so that the landlord's not held responsible for exorbitant costs down the line. Interior walls, interior ceilings, stuff like that.
Okay.
We always recommended that landlords take care of lawn care, just because in Florida, having a violation is very easy to get, and tenants who are on Section 8 tend not to care for the property as a straight pay tenant would. So you could have a violation that they posted on the property and not even know it. So having a manager make sure that your lawn care is taken care of, or pool care is taken care of, that kind of stuff.
Love it. Last, I'm going to ask you a favor, and then we go to the fun round, which should be very quickly. I've told these people, the audience, to subscribe to my channel. I'm giving a lot of educational information about real estate, about business in general. But one thing is coming from me. Can you tell these guys to subscribe below? What do you think?
Can I tell these guys what? Say that again?
Subscribe to the channel so they can start getting the information.
Subscribe to Camilla's channel. He's got all the information. I mean, I've watched you grow from the beginning to now, and it's tenfold. You've been so successful, and I'm so proud to be your friend and do business with you on a regular basis, that I can vouch you definitely have some stuff to give out. So subscribe so you can get educated as well and be successful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
I appreciate it. Let's do a quick round. It's something fun. Quick one sentence answers. You don't need to elaborate too much. Just give me what first comes to your mind. What advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Don't spend that money on clothes. Save it and be an investor earlier.
Love it. Who was your idol when you were a kid?
Oh, goodness. Wow. I don't know. I modeled myself after so many people. The first person I really was my idol was my boss. She owned a salon, and I modeled myself after her when I was in that industry.
Love it, love it. What do you always carry with you? And please don't tell me your cell phone.
No, a diaper bag.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. You have a
My
beautiful
common
one.
sense.
Sorry?
My common sense.
Okay, I like it. I like it. If you didn't do what you do today, what would you be doing?
Oh
What would have
God,
been
you
your
know, I
plan
asked,
B?
what would be my plan B? I would be a designer.
Designer. Oh, love it. Love
Yeah,
it.
I'd be a home designer.
Love it. And what would you have loved to do, but you didn't have the talent for?
I think write computer programs. I don't have the patience for stuff like that. I've always wondered what it would be like to write computer programs.
Awesome. Awesome. And last question. If you could change something in the world, what could it be?
I would change the structure of how the cities deal with the homeless, to be honest.
How do
I
you think
would,
they should handle this?
I would allocate some funding into public housing that was completely rent-free public housing, like kind of like a hotel where they could come and sleep for the night and leave, you know, maybe for a set of time so they can get back on their feet, take a shower, try and brush their teeth and go out and maybe get back into the world and the workforce.
But you don't think those programs exist already? I think
They do, but the sad part is if you make under, you know, you have to make under like $700 a month to get any kind of government assistance. And anybody who's living on the street isn't worried about going into a government agency and getting that assistance. They're literally living on the street and begging and falling into the mental health issue, the drug and alcohol abuse issues. And I think if there's a safe place for people to go and not to sleep on the street, and there we can, you know, funnel out some resources and programs to allocate them to get them involved in, so that we can help them get back. And if they need the mental help, I think mental help's a big issue with homeless. So, I mean, I live in Fort Lauderdale. I see it all the time. It just breaks my heart. And you want to help people, but you don't know how to start it. And I think if there was just one place for them to go where they weren't sleeping on the street, I think it would be beautiful.
Love it, love it. I promise you it was gonna be short and sweet. It wasn't that short, but it was very sweet. It was amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You have an amazing time, an amazing day, and say hi to your baby boy and the other kids. Thank you so much for your time, Melissa.
And you as well. Thanks, Camilla.
Have a good one. Bye.
You too. Bye.